Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Career Mode. Today we are here for the Singapore Grand Prix as we're trying to close our gap to Verstappen in the standings. We're gonna jump straight into qualifying. You can see very treacherous conditions right now. If you look to the timing tables, you can see some people on wets and some people on inters. It was right in the crossover period when we're going out, and unfortunately I have actually left it to the worst part of qualifying. I expected a drier line to start appearing, so I've left it quite late, but it turns out the rain has only been getting heavier throughout the session, which is why you can see people on wets, but some people set their laps on inters. We're going out on the inters though, as I feel like the loss between the two wet compounds is a lot smaller than the wet and a dry compound, and I feel like I know the track well enough in all conditions that I can still set a competitive lap, especially during the crossover period, which is clearly represented by people on the wet constantly going faster, but we have gone purple to the first sector, which is really encouraging on these tyres. We take a good amount of curb. It's taking forever to get to full throttle. We don't even get to full throttle going through that section into the tight left hand hairpin. And all the way through third and fourth, we're only getting on the power halfway down the straight almost. But we do go purple to the second sector as well, so you can. It's so clear that the crossover period is around here, and you know the tyres you're on can be the difference between pole and not pole for us. We're going to see what we can do though. George Russell sets the fastest lap of the session so far in a 1:52.1. We could have taken a lot more curb in the entry through here, but we do take a good amount of curb on the exit as well, keeping it in third gear. I don't prefer using higher gears in the wet because I feel like I get way more traction in the lower gears anyway. We get a good run up the hill that we spin across the line, but we do go first, and we go through to qualifying 2, which is clearly dry conditions, and this is where it really starts to matter because the field is going to be a lot closer now on the dry compound tyres. We don't take any curb on the entrance of turn 1, which is not what you want to be doing. You want to be putting almost your entire car over that inside curb, so we've lost at least half a tenth through there, maybe even a tenth. We get a good run through the right hander coming onto the, what do you call it, back straight? I guess back straight of the Singapore circuits. You can see there's some cars up ahead. Hopefully we don't end up catching up to the house in front, otherwise we could start getting dirty air. We've done really well so far in the lap, but we get a huge amount of oversteer, which is certainly not going to help. We get all the way to the side to chuck the car in and get a good run out onto the small straight before the super tight section, easily the tightest section of the entire track. We get a good run. We didn't take as much curb as we should have through there, but we do get a decent run, full throttle into third through the hairpin. You can see how close we're getting to, I think that was Magnussen ahead. We activate DRS, we do get a bit of wheel spin in fourth surprisingly. We go purple to the second sector as well as the first, I think. A bit of entry understeer and oversteer, so the setup is clearly not too good, but I am feeling quite comfortable. We get a great run through the chicane. So far this has been an incredibly good third sector. We take a perfect amount of curb on both parts of the chicane through there, and through the left and right we get a fantastic run, almost perfect through this third sector. All we need to do is nail this last corner here, which we do. Could have taken a bit more entry curb, but we do go fastest with 1:36.6. We start our last lap. This is in Q3, again leaving it right to the end for track evolution to warm up the track for us. Down into fourth, again not taking as much curb as we possibly could have, but we get a good run regardless, trying to get on the power as soon as you can. You can see our teammate is actually behind us right now. He's going to be getting a bunch of dirty air if he is on a lap, but that is good for us because the worse he does, the closer we can get to him in the championship fight, which is ultimately why we have moved to Red Bull, because the McLaren car just wasn't advancing quick enough for us to mount a championship challenge. But now we're closing into Verstappen every race that goes by, and the worse that he can do in all sessions, the better for us. We take way too much curb in this left-hander though, which compromises our run down this small straight into the super tight section. In sector 2 we get a good run, a good amount of curb as well, and good traction, super early turn-ins, and a bunch of good traction through this tight section, which is what you really need. A good exit as well onto the straight. You see we're looking behind for Verstappen just to see how close he is. We don't go purple to the second sector though, so we might not be on for pole here. We're 6 tenths faster than Alonso, so we're certainly not going to be down at the bottom. We could have taken a lot more curb on the start of the chicane through there. We get a good run though, down into third, taking a lot of curb, a really good run through this chicane. We didn't take as much entry curb as we should have through there. We get a bunch of understeer. I'm running a lot of front downforce, which is probably why, and not enough tyre pressures. But we do get a good run overall through the lap, and it's going to be enough for P2. We're going to go to the grid now though, where ahead of us is Leclerc on the hard, so we should get a better start than him with all 5 lights, which are now out. He gets an incredibly quick reaction, but because of the hards he is struggling to put the power down, but as are we. Ricciardo's almost going to our inside, Magnussen around the outside of him. We're almost pushing Leclerc through turn 1. We managed to sneak around his outside on the medium tyres. We've clearly done a better job of heating our tyres up, and the fact that they're better tyres is aiding us. You can see Tsunoda on the soft has got past Ricciardo. We're down the inside of Leclerc. Magnussen might even be able to get involved. He's chasing us instead of Leclerc because we're the ones with our overtake on. Leclerc almost pushes us into the wall, but we are on the outside, which is the racing line. We're going to brake incredibly late, and there is absolutely no chance of Leclerc fighting that as Magnussen takes a little look at Leclerc, which you could see in the rear view mirror there. And all we need to do now is escape. We know that we've got better pace than the rest of the field. We couldn't quite hook it up in that last sector though. No, middle sector, sorry. In Q3, you can already see that we've gained 6.5, 7 tenths to Leclerc behind. Those hard tyres really not working, but he is going to be faster later on in the race. It's almost a second now in half a lap after starting behind him, which is incredible. I love this track so much. This is one of my best tracks on the entire grid. I think we're running 106 AI, I think, for this race. Although I think we probably should turn it up a bit next season for this race, because clearly we are very quick, but we do have the best car by a long way now. I think we're ahead by 20 to 30 points in the R&D chart. We're coming through to round out the first lap. We've gained 1.4 seconds on Leclerc, 1.4 as we close out the first lap of the Singapore Grand Prix. We advance to lap 10 now though. You can see a 14-second gap to Magnussen, but there's a safety car. There's a safety car on lap 10, and this is way too early for our pit strategy to work, but we are going to come in anyway for the hards, and if we baby the tyres to get to the end, we can make it work. So you see we're coming into the pit, slow down a bit too much on entrance. We could have gone a bit faster, but we are going to be coming out on first anyway because everyone else is going to be pitting with us. I think at this point Verstappen is 8th in the race right now. You can see Hamilton behind us getting ready to try and follow us. We've not done a great job at heating up our tyres. You can see they're 80 degrees internals, 70 externals, which is way too low. Shifting up to 4th, ready to get the power on. When we go when Hamilton least expects it, while he's on the outside, we activate the ERS, and we are 3.5 tenths up on Hamilton at the start of the lap. That is how much curb you're supposed to take through turn 1. That was a good run, and these hards are feeling really good already, even though they are cold. I say that, we get a bunch of oversteer, but I prefer the hards on tracks which are hotter or worse on tyre temperatures because they manage it so much better. I can be so much more confident through all of these turns. Hamilton using a lot of ERS though. You can see me using it just to make sure that he doesn't send one on us. We get a good run through the second and third rights in the second sector, sorry. And now it's all about trying to keep Hamilton behind or even running away from him, as we've got a 7.5 tenth gap now. Magnussen's still in third though. He's having an incredible race in that half. He was holding up everyone through that first stint on the medium tyres because Leclerc DNF. He had a mechanical failure and he is out of the Grand Prix. We're going to skip now though. Oh no, we are checking the standings. Just Verstappen is in 6th right now. He started on the softs, which is why he's been able to catch up so much, but there you are. We have Leclerc and Norris out of the Grand Prix, which is what caused that safety car. They both had a mechanical failure at different parts of the track, so that brought out the safety car. You can see we've got a 1.1 second gap to Hamilton behind, which is really good right now. And right now we're just trying to relax a bit. There's no need to push. I know I've got much better pace than the rest of the field, although that Mercedes is getting quicker by every race weekend that goes past. But if we can stay relaxed, we'll make less mistakes and we'll have way more ERS to play with if Hamilton does manage to make some sort of challenge on us as we go across the line after the safety car restart. And you can see now that we're pitting for a new set of soft tyres to make sure we get the fastest lap, because we know what the AI are like. On this game, they somehow managed to gain pace through thin air, even on end of race spawn hard tyres, and the engineer Mark said that we'd come out in the lead, so I figured that we would take the opportunity to ensure the fastest lap and have a good few laps on the softs at the end. But you can see now that Magnussen and Russell are coming down the main straight, and they might even get us on the exit. We can't put the bow down very quickly because of the cold tyres, and because of the nature of the pit exit, we've actually come out behind Russell and Magnussen, so a completely unnecessary stop has made us lose the lead, and we're going to have to try and fight back now. But we are on brand new softs compared to their old hards. We get loads of understeer through the right hander though at the end of the first sector, and now it's all about trying to keep with them. We need to make sure we can keep with Russell and Magnussen whilst our tyres are still warming up, which shouldn't be too difficult, because let's not forget Magnussen is in a Haas and on and in the oldest tyres on the grid. Would make George Russell go defensive. We go all the way around the outside through one of the tightest corners on the entire grid. That was a ridiculous move. I just sent that down the outside, and now we go down the inside with Magnussen, 2 cars in a few corners. I didn't want to get held behind them for long, because if we do want to set the fastest lap of the race, we cannot have any sort of traffic. We're almost going to the wall with a bunch of oversteer through the end of the second sector. You can see just how much I'm struggling to get the car turned in right now. The tyres are not up to temperature quite yet, but we're going to send it anyway, because the tyres should be up to temperature by the end of this lap, or at least through turn 1. So we open the throttle all the way, coming through to the end of the lap 29 onto lap 30. We set a purple last sector on our out lap, which is very encouraging. We get a good run through turns 1 and 2 and a bunch of rotation through turn 3, which is really helpful. We do get a bit of oversteer on the exit of 3. We come down now into the right hand of 4, down to the back straight, opening the ERS again, just checking for vehicle damage because I hit the wall a bit there, but we managed to get away with it. We've used 50% of our battery in only one sector of this race we use, but we do get purple sector now through 5/6, because I'm not too sure if that right hander down the straight counts. And good run through 7, and now into the left hander of 8. We get a good exit as well, but we could have ran it a bit wider, I think, or opened the throttle a bit quicker through 9. And we get a good run through 10 or 11. Honestly, at this point I'm a bit lost of corner names and corner numbers around this track. There is a bunch of corners. Coming to the end of sector 2 now, down the straight we open up the ERS, immediately as soon as we get traction. That's a purple sector 2 as well. We've made 6 seconds to the car behind. That just shows the power of brand new softs and the best car compared to one of the worst cars on race worn hards that they've been on for 20 laps now. And we get a good run through both chicanes so far in the third sector. For the final one now we get a good run, but we could have gone the power a bit earlier, I feel, using as much ERS down that straight as possible. We turn in, and that is the fastest lap of the race, a 1:36.8. That is almost qualifying fast, and I'm super happy with that, as we're going to now advance to the end of the race. And of course it is P1 for the Singapore Grand Prix.
Oh, superb driving. That is the race win, my friend. Well done.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win.
I hope you all enjoyed this video for the Singapore Grand Prix. We close our gap to Verstappen in the championship battle. I'll see you all for the next one next week. Bye bye.